Do you think getting promoted would make life easier? I did, and I spent 13 years as a manager fighting for a chance to move up, and when I finally landed a director role, I realized you don't actually want that promotion, not at least until you know the brutal truths that come with it. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 brutal truths about becoming a director and how knowing them now will make the promotion worth it, but also help you move up a lot faster. Brutal truth number 1. Ever feel like the higher you climb, the further away you get from the work you actually enjoy? Well, here's the truth. The higher you go, the less of that work you'll actually get to do. Julie Zhao learned this lesson the hard way when she was promoted to lead design at Facebook. She thought it would be her dream job, but almost immediately, she hated it. Instead of sketching and building products, her days were suddenly filled with meetings and reviews and strategy sessions, and at first, she missed the work that she loved. But then she realized her real job wasn't to design anymore, it was to pass along her skills to the next generation of designers and create the systems that grow people who could. So brutal truth number 1 is that you'll work on the business, not in it, and that feels like starting over. So how do you start making this shift now? Well, I want you to take one skill that you're known for and teach it to someone on your team this week. Don't just hand over the steps. Share the little ticks? Share the little tricks and shortcuts you've picked up from doing it so many times so that they don't have to learn the hard way. And make sure you explain why it matters to the bigger business. That way, you're not just delegating work, you're building capability in your team and showing senior leaders that you can scale results beyond yourself. Brutal truth number 2. Do you think directors spend time approving brilliant ideas that turn into big wins and everyone just pops champagne to your leadership? Well, the reality is it doesn't work like that. You'll kill more good ideas than you'll actually approve. And a great example of this is when Steve Jobs returned to Apple in the late 90s. The company was drowning in products, printers, cameras, PDAs, you name it. Honestly, some of them were genuinely good ideas, but Jobs shocked everyone by slashing almost all of them. And his reason? He said that deciding what not to do is just as important as deciding what to do. That ruthless focus cleared the path for the iMac, the iPod, and eventually the iPhone. So brutal truth number 2 is most of your job is going to be telling good people no. So how do you say no to people without sounding like a, asshole? Well, first you need to establish your business's priorities. That's essentially going to be your North Star. And when someone brings up a good idea that doesn't quite line up with that, thank them for it, but then point back to the North Star like, hey, that's a smart idea, but here's why we've got to stay focused on this right now. As much as I think that your idea will succeed, it isn't building towards our ultimate goal. If it's possible, try to help them reshape the idea to be pointing toward that North Star. That way your people will feel heard and you will look like the leader who protects strategy. Brutal truth number 3. Do you think being a great manager automatically means you're ready for director? The truth is, the skills that made you a strong manager are not the same ones that will get you promoted. If you've ever seen Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, you already know how this works. Not gonna lie, I used to be absolutely obsessed with that show. And I remember one thing that kind of always stood out to me. Most of the struggling restaurants were run by former chefs or waiters who thought, I know how to cook and I know how to serve, I can run a restaurant. But Ramsay would always prove the same point. Working in a restaurant and running a restaurant are 2 totally different skill sets. And it's no different being a director. So brutal truth number 3 is being a great manager doesn't mean you're ready for director. The skills that got you here won't get you any further. So how do you start building director level skills? Well, you need to know what skills to actually start working on, whether it's your communication, being strategic, or having somebody ready. I actually have a free tool in my description that you could just take a quick test, put in your industry, and it's gonna give you all your strengths and weaknesses. But generally speaking, you want to shift your focus from running the team to shaping the business. You need to learn how money moves through the company, practice influence with peers and other departments, and spend more time on long-term goals instead of just today's tasks. This will get you ready to run the whole restaurant and not look like an idiot sandwich when promotion time comes. Brutal truth number 4. Do you think a bigger title means people backing you up? Well, the truth is, leadership doesn't always feel as supportive as it looks from the outside. Do you remember when you first got promoted to manager? If you got promoted from within, it was like all of a sudden people you used to work with now behave differently in one way or another because you're their boss. Even worse, you had to be careful what you said around them since leaders' words carry more weight. Or if you were placed as a manager on a team that you've never met, that's even worse. You felt like a total outsider. And that's the hidden tax of leadership. The higher up you go, the less company you keep. So brutal truth number 4 is the job doesn't get easier, it gets lonelier. So how do you get ready for that jump? Well, you should find a director you can learn from and start building that relationship. Having somebody who's already been through the challenges is a game changer because they can give you an inside track to what changes once you're higher up. You can ask how they handle pressure, notice how they make tough calls, and start practicing some of those habits in your own role. That way, when senior leadership looks at you, they don't see a manager. They see someone who already belongs in their circle. Brutal truth number 5. Do you think that the best ideas are always going to win in the boardroom? Well, in reality, your ideas don't win on merit alone. They win because you've positioned yourself before the meeting even starts. Look at it like this. Do you remember that game Battleship when you were a kid? You didn't win because you had the best ships. You won because you knew how to position them, spreading them out, predicting where the other person would strike, and quietly setting traps before they even made a move. And the boardroom works the same way. Even the best ideas can sink if you walk in without thinking about the political game being played around you. So brutal truth number 5 is every decision becomes political. Even if you hate office politics as much as I do, you can't afford to ignore them because the game is being played whether you join it or not. So to win your next promotion, it's critical that you understand the 5 most important rules of office politics. So go watch this video next and I'll show you how to spot the political games happening in your company so you can use them to your advantage and win your next promotion.